There are currently 4 head coaching jobs open in college football. Let's talk about some of the top candidates for each job, starting with Arkansas, arguably the best job open right now. Rhett Lashlee, easily the top candidate. There's a lot of connectivity between him and the Razorbacks. He played there. He was a graduate assistant there a little bit ago, and there's reportedly interest from him as well, even though SMU might have a larger pool of resources technically. Ryan Silverfield would make a lot of sense, both geographically with where Memphis is relative to Arkansas, the success he's had there. Bobby Petrino being the next head coach is a real possibility. Summerall is going to be a name you see thrown around for a lot of jobs. I think he'd be open to be taking this one, but he's been very selective with his job so far. He could have been a power conference head coach a couple of years ago now. Gruden could happen. He's got interest in the SEC. Golesh, Kinney, Malzahn, all guys that I think you could hear the name get thrown around, and I think there's some interest from Arkansas for those guys as well. Virginia Tech is a really interesting one because not many people can agree on what the value of this head coaching job is. Shane Beamer's easily number one, especially because there might be some light hot seat stuff with him at South Carolina. He wouldn't have to worry about that at Virginia Tech, and it's also the connection with his dad. He was an assistant head coach here for a couple of seasons as well. It makes way too much sense for him to come back to the Hokies and revive the program. Clark Lea is one I don't think a ton of people are talking about, but it would make a lot of sense. Kind of a higher floor at Virginia Tech, even though I know Vandy just beat the tar out of him the last couple of years. The resources would be there. Chesney makes sense for his success, the regionality there. Gruden to Virginia Tech could make a lot of sense too. Another one I think Gruden would be open to taking. Golesh and Summerall, the usual suspects, outside the box a little bit. Maybe Ricky Ronnie, maybe them getting their teeth kicked in by them has their attention to him, even though he hasn't necessarily had the great success. A lot of that depends on how this season pans out. And then Jamie Chadwell, definitely a name that's cooled off this year and probably not a super real possibility. Also, no, they're not hiring Michael Vick. Oklahoma State's another interesting one because it's been so long since they've had to hire a head coach. G.J. Kinney got to be at the top of this list. A very hot name in college football. He's been great at Texas State. Zach Robinson played at Oklahoma State. He's currently an offensive coordinator for the Falcons. Another big name to watch out for. Arbuckle would probably not even have to sell his house, and he could be the head coach here. Eric Morris, one to watch out for. Traylor, maybe a little bit of a safer pick. He's been doing it for longer than Morris has, but I think Morris is the hotter name currently. Golesh, Silverfield, and then even a guy like Colin Klein, currently Texas A&M's offensive coordinator, all would be great candidates, and ones Oklahoma State's probably got on their radar as well. Finally, is easily the worst job that's open to the 4, and that's UCLA. The administration isn't invested. The fans aren't invested. Even though it's in the Big Ten, I'd say it easily ranks 4th out of these ones, and they're not really looking to invest that much. Look for them to hire an unproven guy like D'Anton Lynn. He was the defensive coordinator previously, still a solid hire, or maybe a guy like Wilcox. They wouldn't have to pay that much. Brendan Marion may be looking to upgrade. Jason Eck from New Mexico. Maybe Hartline gets his first chance as a head coach. Danielson would make sense. Ken Niumatalolo, just another leader of men trying to get in there and just squeeze out some wins. A little outside the box, Mike McDaniel. Maybe he gets fired from the Dolphins and considers it, but either way for UCLA, don't expect a big name hire.